Oh shit, wait, hold on. I gotta switch headsets. I got the wrong headset in. Damn it. Check, check. 1, 2. Can you hear me? No. Let's see.
Only slightly.
Echo, echo. Hello? Anybody?
Trying to, damn it.
Oh, there I go. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The share, oh, I'm trying to get the share is not working. Come on. Oh, I guess are we already shared? I guess we are. Can everyone see this? Right?
Both of us? Oh, we're live. I guess we'll do the intro in post.
Yes, we'll fix it in post.
Good evening and welcome to the After Hours Show. My name's Joe in Norway. I'll be your cook this evening. I'm joined by Ann Lee, a retired college professor and a community member at the Daily Coast. She's a member of the National Council of Independent Scholars and is a contributor to the book, The Political Economy of Art, Making the Nation of Culture. Evening, Ann.
Hey there, Joe.
Hey, my technical prowess is a bit lacking today. We've been on the road for hours, driving through feet of snow, blizzard conditions to get to some friends, visiting family. Finally got here, and I thought I would make some comfort food this week. I'm going to make some vegetarian spätzle, but kind of special spätzle with roasted winter squash, which we've
Cool.
got here. So we're gonna mush these beauties with our little thing, and I'll mix that with about 4 cups maybe of wheat flour, some semolina for some texture and flavor enhancement. And then we've got, instead of egg, we've got mung bean starch. So next time I'll try with mung bean flour to see what the texture difference is with those. But this should aid in replacing the eggs. And since we're lacking eggs, we can use turmeric.
All right.
Or gurkame for the yellow. The semolina also gives it a little yellow flavor, yellow look. And if I didn't have some very anti-egg flavored vegetarians in the house, I'd put the kala namak, I believe it's called, or the black salt, the kiln roasted salt that is a sulfurous smell and taste that really mimics eggs quite well. The sulfur flavor of eggs. So you just put a couple pinches in there, you're good to go. In India, you can get it mixed in with your chat. And I'll maybe do a little grating of muscat or nutmeg. And the technique we're going to use, we're going to boil our water. And I left all of my equipment at home, but I found a thin cutting board. What we're going to do is have our boiling water here. Got a knife. We're going to use the back of the knife. We're going to spread some of the dough on the cutting board, and then we're just going to cut portions into the water, and they float just like gnocchi. After about a minute or two, they're floating and finished. And then I'll fry them up with some not scallion. What's this? Keep forgetting the name of it. Shallots. That's what we'll do.
Shallots.
Shallots, and instead of the parsley I forgot, we've got a reasonable limited amount of cilantro or coriander. And to try and outdo myself with the presentation of my caramelized carrot cat vomit dish the other week, I've got some leftover lentil stew, which my my kids said was burnt or rather smoky. I think it's a bit smoky. I almost burned the shit out of it. To be honest, I almost burned the shit out of it. But it's a let's just say it's in addition to being lentils, the almost burntness makes it even more earthy. So we're gonna heat this up, puree it, and then we're gonna lay our spätzle over a bed of pureed smoky lentil paste. How's that sound?
Lentils now with more carbon.
Here, it's been a busy week.
It has been a busy week. Let me, I guess I should start. Welcome. It's Friday the 14th, and gosh, so much has happened. Well, let's see. It's been a week of weirdness, I suppose. Interesting people died. Interesting people got sworn in. The Epstein material has burst forward. Trump himself, I think, freaked out for about a 24-hour period relative to social media. And he didn't rant at all. And when he did rant, which was today, about 36 some odd hours, he was pretty much silent for 30 some odd hours. That didn't mean that he wasn't doing anything. I mean, but he didn't answer any questions because they were going to be all Epstein questions. The Epstein estate holds on to or has copies of all Epstein's emails, something like 20,000 pages of it, which is a very small fraction of the total file size, because it's like 300 gigabytes or something. It's like the stuff that the feds have is a tremendous amount. So anytime they tell you, oh, well, we have all this material they released, which is what they claimed a while back, the fact of the matter is they were full of crap, and is really a small fraction. And even the small fraction that we have shows that Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein, the late Jeffrey Epstein, was actually quite prescient. I mean, he knew what a psycho Trump was, and you can sort of see that in the emails. So there are little things in the emails that are kind of interesting. I didn't realize that Larry Summers was a lot closer to Epstein than one thinks, but I think that's a result of Larry Summers, that is former Treasury Secretary, cabinet member, I guess, yes, during Obama, and with a bad move, with all due respect, but
Now, wait a
for
minute. How did they
what?
read all of these? Weren't these PJP, GPG encrypted? Especially if he's
No,
working for Mossad. Come on, basic stuff.
well, I think he had an account for his standard account, and then there's whatever he was using, whatever PGP he was using with the Mossad.
We won't be
Excuse me.
seeing those files.
No, not anytime soon, or they'll be embargoed or something. Speaking of classified, the $20 billion that we're propping up, we're doing a currency swap. Talk about currency manipulation, a currency swap with Argentina. And they just got their $20 billion, and it's classified for some reason. Now, the point of classifying it, of course, is not to identify the particular capitalists, and yes, they are capitalists, the rentier capitalists or financiers who are going to benefit from this. They're not identifying them essentially. So this is the usual, uh, you know, keeping as much a kind of firewall between the machinations of Scotty Bessent's friends and what's going on in Argentina. And anyone with a sense of history knows that Argentina goes through these things a lot. I mean, they've had hyperinflation, they've, you know, Juan Perón, et cetera, et cetera. So, you've got a history of monkey business, shenanigans going on with the Argentine economy. Unfortunately, they did, I guess, reelect what's his name, the head of
Malay.
Argentina, Malay, and so that sucker is propped up for the moment, which is unfortunate. But that's that. I think another 20 billion has been promised. And of course, the point is for the left in the United States is to point out, hopefully, at every moment that we don't have health care, we don't have universal health care, and yet we're giving away 40 billion bucks at a pop. So I think that's much more important than all the kind of falderall that we've had. We've had a week of falderall, though. For example, today there was some information that only happened about a couple of days ago, but it's social media has gotten it moving that forward. Is So apparently a woman who was driving without a driver's license um, uh, got arrested for not having her driver's license, or it was expired. And so, and she's from Arizona, but she was in Iowa, of all places, Des Moines. And so she gets arrested and put in the clink. And I don't think she was there very long, perhaps 24 hours, maybe 48 hours. But and the usual stuff goes on, and they're going to release her to her mother, and blah blah blah. She's in her 20s, I think, and this poor woman um, is maintain. What they tell her is, "Well, we can't let you go." This is the sheriff's office in Polk County, which is the county that Des Moines is in, and so they tell her, well, we can't let you go. You're an undocumented immigrant, and we have to wait another 48 hours to let ICE take you and put you into custody. And so everyone freaks out, of course. The mother freaks out, everyone, the family freaks out. Um, Now, the point, of course, and the contradiction, this is what contradiction looks like in the United States, and that is this woman is a Native American. She's an indigenous person. She's registered, whatever, none of this Liz Warren stuff. Everyone in her family is an indigenous person. And so everyone freaks out, and there's freakouts all over the place. Um, Needless to say, it's kind of weird that they're trying to deport someone who's an indigenous person. And lest you think this is unusual or this is a one off, the fact is they've been doing this from the beginning. There's numerous reports, dozens, I think now, reported by various Native organizations and peoples and et cetera, that Native Americans, because some of them look or have become um, interrelated with indigenous peoples and also the Latino or Hispanic, or however you want to describe it, um, communities. And of course, you don't look right. And it's why I don't spend a lot of time outside because I'm just the wrong damn color. And so, anyway, point being is that this all gets straightened out, but the lieutenant, who I assume is the second executive officer for the Polk County Sheriff's Office, called it silly, that this was silly. Well, from his point of view, it was silly that they had to hold on. There's something called detainers. a law that is another one of these little weird DHS law things that allows police to, and this is something that local police can opt into, is that they serve as sort of adjuncts to ICE. So they can hold you another 48 hours until ICE deals with you. So, in other words, they're only violating your constitutional rights twice. So, needless to say,
So you'd be held
law.
at a local jail instead of an ICE facility?
That's correct. Until they come and get you and put you into whatever, disappear you to some other state or whatever, which is what is happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
People are grabbed. Some police cooperate quickly with ICE, and ICE takes people away, and you don't hear from them for a while. Needless to say, there have been people. I think there's still some people who are U.S. citizens who have not violated any laws. They don't have a rap sheet or whatever, and they're still incarcerated, which I assume the ACLU is working on. But the fact of the matter is, we're already, down that fascist road. So anyway, I wrote a thing that asks the question rhetorically: where are you going to deport these indigenous people to? Rwanda? Because that's kind of what's going on here.
Mm.
Anyway, so that was the interesting thing of the last day or so that I looked at a couple of that this was reported on in Arizona, in the Arizona press, and Occupy Democrats got hold of this. So it is a BFD, as they say. So there's that. um, there's fallout from the Mamdani election. Fortunately, it was decisive, and there's no contesting that. Um, I mentioned that Trump disappeared, or at least from the social media, for a while, and one wondered, because of that absence, whether he was preparing a greater distraction from the Epstein stuff, uh, which was released by the House Democrats, um, because this is from the estate. It's not the stuff that the discharge petition that was finally signed when they swore in Grijalva, the the representative from Arizona, who was held up for 54 or whatever days, simply because Speaker of the House Johnson felt it was okay to do that. It's just more cover up and stonewalling, and however you want to talk about it, it's obstruction. And where one is surprised, of course, obviously there were threats to do it, to sort of engage lawfare and sue the Congress or sue somebody for uh, preventing Grijalva to constituent services. I mean, for almost 2 months or 3 months, her constituents weren't getting any services. I mean, certain things were covered, but certainly not a lot of other things, since she didn't, for a while, for a couple of weeks, she didn't have her own office, etc. So it was just monkey business, more monkey business. And so that happened. Um, as I said, we were waiting for the other shoe to drop with Trump, like, maybe he would invade Venezuela or do something otherwise. I don't think they're prepared to do that yet, but they were sufficiently frightened to declare a national security something and bring in Lauren Boebert all by herself to talk with Patel, the FBI director, and Todd Blanche, the deputy AG, and the AG, Pam Bondi, and Trump. And where did they meet? And the press has made more of this than probably it needs to be. But, the only purely secured site uh, uh, in the White House is the Situation Room. And so that's where they met with Boebert, and they met with her because, and this was on Tuesday, I think, or Wednesday morning, whatever. They were trying to hold up they wanted her to withdraw her discharge petition signature. You can't do that. I mean, it's just impossible to withdraw it. And they're stupid enough not to realize that, but they dragged her in and tried to jawbone her. That is, jawboning is cajoling verbally, is to try and convince her to, recant, partially because I think of all the 4 or 5 people who on the GOP side who have signed onto the discharge petition, um, she's the one most vulnerable. That is, she has the least seniority. She not very smart. And so I think they were trying to convince her to change her mind. And I think she's very committed. And not that she's a feminist, but um, I think that, she's resisting. And she made a commitment. I think she did make a commitment. And she saw, not unlike Marjorie Taylor Greene, the necessity to identify with all of the Epstein victims, all 50 of them, who have been doing stuff and doing press and et cetera. And so, anyway, the discharge petition finally is going to be acted on. So it was entered into the record, and somehow there's going to be a vote on it next week. Uh, and hopefully, because of those GOP members, they're going to vote for it unless they have bribed or bought off or cajoled people to vote against it. So if it advances out of the House, goes to the Senate, some people are convinced that the Senate is not going to go for it. But I think there's this background that says, well, who among any legislator is going to want to vote against this? Um, and I think that's a very Republican point of view. I think that people are going to say, and they are sufficiently outraged now to, vote to release the Epstein files from the Department of Justice. And if you look it up, there's about 9 different ways in which um, the White House or Department of Justice can resist doing that. And so they can tie it up in the courts. It could take a long time to actually release this data. And so it's all about timing, the timing of, that the speaker got in the way of getting the 218 votes, that we're near a holiday. It's all these things, considering that the Congress, the House, has only worked technically for 12 days over the last 3 months or whatever, which is pretty good if you can, afford to do it. So if you've followed all that, you're better than I. Joe, do you want to say anything about
Yeah,
your
I
dumpling
was
things?
just about to interrupt, but I am looking. Um, okay. Well, maybe that'll. Uh, on my kitchen. All right. So we've got the. I didn't have a whisk, so I tried to get most of the clumps out. But we've got the batter. I put it to about that consistency. Uh, you're supposed to use milk, eggs, but you can supplement with unsweetened soy milk, almond milk, oat milk, I suppose, or like I did because I forgot all of those things. I just used water, so water works too. It's just not as rich. But we've got our batter. We've got our little board to put the batter on. We'll do a little test to see how the um, let's see. Just get a little batter, spread it. So, and then we just, might be too thick.
Spetzel.
Oh, it's a bit sticking to the cutting board. Oh,
Well,
I need to add more flour.
you need one of those Spetzel thingies that you drag it over and it squirts
Well,
out all
I
the
I have
little
one, but it's
thingies.
too fine. The potato ricer I have will do the
Ah,
job, but it's too thin. It always gets bunched together, so we don't have a fat holes. Or you can use a colander as well, or a sheet pan
yes,
with a bunch of holes in it.
right.
But see, they're done now. They just float to the top, and they're just about finished. Nothing fancy, just old school, delicate dumplings. Spätzle. Well, I'll just make a bunch of these, and then we'll work on our not burnt lentil paste, and we'll see what we
Smoky,
can.
smoky.
Oh, we've got our shallots that are sweating. They're almost finished. Good. It's a good quality stove, old school stove. Uh,
Cool,
we were at some relatives who still have their stove and oven from 1959,
cool,
Electrolux 1959 kitchen appliances. The hobs were industrial electric back in the day. Somehow they cheapened in between the modern ones are that you find in restaurants. Um, but the crazy thing is that she changed her light bulb in the oven only once since
cool,
1959.
cool. Yeah, that's like a story of all that
Mm,
light bulb that's been lit since 1929 or whatever.
mm.
Uh,
I'll post some photos to the chat.
so
Wally,
how's it?
back to you.
All righty. Needless to say, distraction, diversion, etc. is going on. And so apparently today, Trump ordered Pam Bondi to investigate Bill Clinton. God knows why. It's because Bill Clinton is mentioned in these Epstein letters, but not in any insidious way. It just, um, there's an overlap there, and probably more likely it's the overlap with Larry Summers. But anyway, needless to say, that's kind of the latest distraction is the Justice Department now reinvestigating or investigating Bill Clinton. And if they had anything on the damn guy, that probably would have been revealed a lot longer ago, considering that he is, as they say, Slick Willie. So, um, so it's just shenanigans, as I've called it. There's just shenanigans. It's really a mess over there in the White House, but there's all the peripheral elements. I have pointed out, as others have, that Trump is putting all kinds of Liberace style things on the walls and stuff all over the. I mean, he has been decorating with uh, stuff, wall decorations that appear to be gold leaf applied to stuff you get from Home Depot. And yes, I know it. He says, and you can sort of prove that it's not Home Depot, but it's millwork done, a more fine millwork that's been done by some other thing, but they're using the same CNC machine to make the damn thing. So anyway, that's going on um, up to and including the point where Trump gives a tour uh, to Laura Ingraham of the White House. He's trying to do his Kennedy thing, which fail, needless to say. And even Ingram can asks interesting questions. So when we're down to that, that's fascinating. Other than that, there was Jack Smith willing to talk directly to Congress about the failed investigations of Trump, which is really good because the second they have to do that, uh, all kinds of stuff is there. Everybody knows that all kinds of stuff. It's unfortunate, but there are a lot of people who know that there's a lot of stuff going on. Um, so there's all that. Um, it's been a busy week, needless to say, and we have a few more minutes to yak about this stuff before we talk about the schedule. But I will mention, that we do this every Friday. Uh, we try to do this every Friday and comment on all kinds of matters. So I pointed out this week because I think that he does look like Bunsen Honeydew, the Muppet. What's his name? Kevin Hassett, the current chair of the National Economic Council, which is not the Council of Economic Advisors. It's not the same thing as the Council of Economic Advisors for the White House. And there's a reason for that. That is, the Council for Economic Advisors are actually technically real economists, well, or so, even though that hasn't truly been the case. And lawyers who do that, who do antitrust, are not exactly the same as PhD economists. So, anyway, but yes, Kevin Hassett is a PhD economist. I think he's a Penn graduate, Swarthmore to Penn. But the fact is, he can't stop smiling, and he's the true yes man because every time he answers a question, it's usually he's never disagreed with Trump. It's pretty bizarre, in fact, that he never qualifies what he says. It's just, he's the ultimate yes man. And so he's always beaming a smile that at this rate appears to be false. And so I compared him to the Muppet called Bunsen Honeydew, who doesn't have any eyeballs. He just has a pair of glasses. And his assistant is called Beaker. So anyway, some of you may not remember that, but there's that. And they drag him out when there's nobody else to run point on the economy. And the economy is in a bad way. It's getting worse. But yet Trump continues to maintain that prices are going down. Gas is still at $2. It isn't. All this inflation is going down, which is another lie, because they've managed to suppress employment figures, that is labor statistics, etc. We don't know what the hell's going on with the economy, although we do, because other people have managed to get the information out. And so, yes, unemployment has risen. There are more unemployed, but we wouldn't know about it because Trump doesn't talk about it, or White House agency data is not available. So, and it's really not a problem from the point of view of data, because the data has to get reported forward at some moment, and the information is available. It's just that the White House isn't doing anything about it because they can't, or they shouldn't, relative to Trump. Because if you knew what was going on, you'd be really crazy. And so in the midst of all this, the $40 billion to Argentina, et cetera, Trump tries to buy us off. He asserts that 65% of America are, by inference, that he doesn't say it directly, but by inference, because his claim is that 65% of Americans have a certain opinion about tariffs, that, in his opinion, 65% of Americans are fools, and essentially tries to buy everyone off, at least the 65%, with a $2,000 check. Now, I haven't seen this check, and this is a replication of the $600 check from the Trump first term, which turned into a $1,200 check around COVID. Now, the point I've been trying to make is that because he's disabled all of this stuff, crippled the CDC, fired all these folks, released, either furloughed or fired research staffs, et cetera, et cetera. The fact is, if there's another pandemic, we're in more trouble than we know. But there's a reason why he's doing it, because it is, as I've tried to say, uh, some people would say it is murder as public policy. Social murder is uh, what the 19th century referred to it as. That is, kill poor people, kill the disabled, kill people of color. Um, it's a very Republican
Mm.
philosophy and goes back to the 19th century, which the Republicans kind of want that because uh, the problem is, of course, a lot of poor people, people of color, etc., actually make the food in your restaurant, do other stuff, but they seem to think they can do without them because they'll get replaced by robots. Well, we're not even there yet. Although I'm fascinated by food preparation robots, and we may do a thing on that at some moment because it doesn't look like what Joe is doing there. They have robots trying to do all these different things, and it's really quite interesting. The Japanese are quite good at this in terms of replicating human action, like what Joe is doing there now. Uh, yeah, it could be done by a
That's not
robot.
action. Human action. That's what we're talking about. Not excrement. No,
Indeed.
no.
Uh,
We're
uh,
close.
and yes, of course, within the background of all this, troops are still in various cities. I think there's a permanent injunction about sending troops to Portland because nothing was happening in Portland, but they keep trying to have it happen. It is happening in Chicago, but only around the ICE facility where they had people out there, not ICE people, but state police and a bunch of other folks uh, doing stuff against demonstrators, and demonstrators are there, and people are being disappeared into ICE facilities. And yes, they're running around neighborhoods grabbing people off the street. They haven't stopped doing that. Apparently, they created an event or something happened. The report was that some guy in a Jeep, they haven't caught this guy, fired a gun at ICE officers. Now, they have no video. They have only a report, and it's just they're trying to get there. They're trying to get to that moment where they can just run out and literally kill people. They haven't gotten there yet, but they're trying to get close. And so, amid lawfare, et cetera, that's all happening. That's all happening. So the government shutdown ended this week. I guess it ended yesterday or day before yesterday, and it ended because 8 senators decided they would capitulate. Now, it's not so much that they decided to capitulate as this is a standard procedure. That is, people who are not vulnerable or less vulnerable in terms of being up for election in the
Believe
2026 cycle, decided to vote
six of them, I believe.
to move. Yes, of variety. Angus King from Maine,
Mhm.
Shaheen from New Hampshire. A lot of stuff happened. But the point was, and then everyone's mad at Chuck Schumer, and they really don't have to be mad at Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer is doing the best he can with, a very problematic Senate. Um, and, things continue to happen, of course, against a kind of entire backdrop of Gavin Newsom going to Brazil, the highest ranking U.S. official to show up for the COP meeting in Brazil. And unfortunately, or fortunately, Gavin Newsom that now has a higher profile than Trump on the world stage, which I don't think Trump's trying to pay attention to it. But the fact is, he's doing a good job doing Trump against Trump. And his little PR office for the governor of California is doing quite amusing things. They essentially do Trump-like social media trolling, some of which is very good, some of which replicates the same structure and argument and bad logic of Trumpian ranting and stupidity, but always with a critique built into it, without resorting, or sometimes resorting to name calling. So it's quite amusing. And from a content point of view, Gavin's governor's public relations office, or whatever it is, Office of Public Information for the governor of California, um, cranks out some interesting stuff. All right. So all that was happening this week. It's been a busy week, as I said. We're getting close to talking about the schedule. That looks really good, Joe. Does it taste okay?
Did I beat the cat vomit presentation? Is this a little bit better?
Looks nice.
Uh,
Nice Spetzel.
uh,
That bloomed out really nicely.
they're very, very delicate. Nice
Yes.
with the squash.
Well, that's wonderful. That's excellent. We're on to scheduling. John, are you there? Can you tell us about Night Gallery?
Yes, but I just recovered from falling out of my chair when you said we shouldn't be mad at Chuck Schumer.
Uh,
Well, I just wouldn't waste any time trying to remove him from Senate leadership, whatever.
Oh boy, I totally disagree. I mean, the Democrats could remove him. It would not take a lot to remove him from that position, and he has proven himself time and again to be either totally useless or a corrupt corporatist, and I don't really care which it is.
John, does your issue revolve around the big L in leader? He's
Ah,
the responsible leader.
small L.
Oh,
Yeah.
Um, well, no, I mean, he's either really bad at his job or he just has contempt for the majority of the Democratic Party.
Well, I could agree with you, but it seems to me Lawrence O'Donnell was interviewing Sheldon Whitehouse, which he does probably once a week. Sheldon Whitehouse, senator from Rhode Island, says, "Well, I don't know who would take the job. I don't think there's anyone there who's ambitious enough to want the job. It is that whole Senate collegiality deal, which is what they always fall back to. But I don't think anyone wants the gig, or is sufficiently, whatever, ambitious enough to take it. And
Yeah,
I don't think it's like the Speaker of the House, where the House could actually, because they talked about it at one time when Trump was out of office, is to make the Speaker anyone, a ham sandwich, or Trump. There was a brief moment where some in the GOP, some real Trumpists, wanted to install Trump as the Speaker of the House. So, but you can't do that with leadership in the Senate. So anyway, that's the difference. So we're
yeah.
stuck with
Well,
Schumer for a while.
I think we do better with a dead chicken in
Oh, indeed.
that
Or a
position.
ham sandwich. Yeah. There's no disagreement there. I just think that the rules get in the way, and or the culture of the Senate gets in the way. And it's unfortunate, and I'm also surprised, and for whatever reason, because I'm sure there's something related to it that has to do with Schumer, and that is that, was it 5 GOP senators, the ones who have been involved, who were involved at some level, and there's proof of it, but it's all the FBI or the Justice Department did was get their call records, which doesn't, they're not wiretaps, they're just call records, but they want to be able, and they wrote this into the bill, the releasing of the ransom on the shutdown, and apparently they get to sue for as much, and some others have said it's in $500,000 increments, but you can they wrote it in there that allows them to sue for some bizarre reason for $500,000 because of their call records being acquired, which is BS. But the fact is, it's there, and it's a payday. It's like a payoff of some kind. So there's that. It'll get struck down because it's clearly, totally out of bounds. But it got written in. Now the fact is, I don't think it can be fully enacted. Of course, Trump would sign off on it, but I think no one wants to give these particular guys, Lindsey Graham, Tommy Tuberville, a bunch of jokers. What's his name from Johnson from Wisconsin? They're all jokers. The jokers want the $500,000. So anyway, that's happening. So
I
John, tell us about Night Gallery.
I disagree
Oh,
again because I think Tommy Tuberville, just the weight of his intellect, uh, deserves a $500,000. All right. So,
now,
yeah.
before you get to the night gallery, I read a little bit about one of the potential real reasons that they caved had to do with potentially losing the what's that veto vote that they have that they've
Oh,
been
the
trying to get
filibuster.
rid filibuster. Yes, is that the reason why?
That's part of it. Yes,
Uh,
well, they're not the same grouping as those who did
and
capitulate to support the filibuster.
mm,
Essentially, this was meant to keep the filibuster, against which most people think that the filibuster just must go in general. But
mm,
I think they only want the filibuster to go when one party has a majority. So the majority party always wants to hold on to it as
mm.
a sort of veto like element within the voting structure, because you need 60 votes, and it's whatever. It's
It's a way to keep your extremities in line, basically.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. It's a way to suppress essentially opposition or dissent.
Mhm.
What
Um,
it really does is ensures minority rule.
yes,
And that's what's taking the heart out of our so-called democracy. We have uh, people who lose the presidential election winning the presidency because of the Electoral College. We have gerrymandering in the House, so that even if more people vote for Democrats, there are more Republicans elected to the Congress, to the House. Um, the whole system is a joke. It doesn't represent the majority will. It
no,
is, and it was constructed that way. I mean, you said that, the collegiality of the Senate is preventing us from moving forward. Well, the Senate itself has been preventing democracy since 1789.
indeed.
But
Well, that, as they say in public policy courses, this is the sort of iron triangle, and then there are models for governance. And of course, what the Republicans want is aristocratic governance, right? Elite governance.
yep.
Um,
Oh.
Hamiltonian, I guess it is, or whatever.
The other thing
Jeffersonian.
they say is love it or leave it. I took that advice some years ago. Yes.
Yes, get the hell out of the country. There's a poll that says Gen Z women want to get the hell out of the country. Uh, Probably because Gen Z men are being more opprobrious or whatever. So whatever. Not that we should all leave the country, although leaving the country is always a good thing, just from there's a whole other world
Broaden your
out there.
horizons a little.
Well, there are people making Spetzel in Norway. I mean, hell.
Uh,
John, what's on Night
Oh, night
Gallery,
gallery.
John?
yeah, Night Gallery tonight. We have an episode called Green Fingers. And it seems to get good reviews. It stars Cameron Mitchell and Elsa Lanchester.
Ooh,
Yeah,
it,
big names. And it's about a developer who wants to buy the land that Elsa Lanchester's character is living on, and he doesn't like to take no for an answer.
there you go. And there are, of course, historic events that resemble that. I think it is from the 1960s where they built an entire casino around somebody's building. Um,
So this is a pro NIMBY episode,
Um,
possibly. We'll see.
I guess.
No,
Yeah, it's
NIMBY.
I mean, from the very scene, there's a hint of kind of what this is. The very first scene, there's a hint of what this is subtly suggesting. We'll see if we can pick that up. Yeah.
well, it's an allegory about property rights. Later tonight, and I note that Travis isn't here to tell us which episode it is, but right after Night Gallery, there will be Poker Face, an episode of Poker Face, which should be very exciting. Um, you should stick around for that. Night Gallery will be on in about 38 minutes. So please stick around for that. Saturday and Sunday, I can't remember what's going on. What are we going to watch on Saturday? Somebody's going to show something, and I think Susanna's showing something. Is that not the case? Or have I been wrong?
You're
We
never
watch.
wrong, Anne. You're never wrong. I'm gonna, I'm gonna, let me rush this because I think my connection is a little strange tonight. But
Okay.
tomorrow night at 7 p.m., we're going to be showcasing the great writer and producer of the horror genre, Val Lewton. Uh,
Mm.
and and the first is a documentary produced and narrated by Martin Scorsese called Val Lewton Man in the Shadows, because this guy is a legend. And then I'm going to show one of his masterpieces. This is true, I'm not kidding. I Walked with a Zombie.
Oh,
And
there we go.
it is loosely based on Jane Eyre, believe it or not. It is.
Wow.
So, so, so
So
be there.
it's not based on the 13th floor elevators and Rocky Erickson's song. I'm just saying, must be where he got it from.
Oh God. I think there
All
is
right.
a Jane.
I won't.
Isn't there a Jane Austen and the zombies? There's I think a night. But anyway, yes, good, excellent. 7 o'clock Eastern time on Saturday. Uh, Assuming I wake up in time, there will be weekly marks at 2 o'clock on Saturday and Sunday, and on Sunday, therefore, at 5 o'clock, uh, there will be Star Trek: The Next Generation. You want to talk about that, John?
Sure. So the episode is called The Enemy, and our intrepid chief engineer, Geordie LaForge, um, gets separated from the rest of an away team on a stormy and inhospitable planet, and comes into contact with a Romulan soldier. And it's an interesting story. I think people will like it.
Yes, yes, it is. We learn a lot more about, why Romulans don't like Earthers or whatever. And so, yeah, that's all very cool.
Yeah. And why
Uh,
Klingons don't like Romulans.
yes, that too. Exactly. Exactly. A good episode. And let's see. Lane is not here, but I'm hoping that he will grace us with his presence on Sunday evening after Star Trek to give us more interesting and wonderful music. So we're looking forward to that. I'm not sure what's coming up next week. I'm going to continue to try and plod on with a variety of things. I'm now doing stuff on the attention economy, which it actually has an entire genre built around it. But so I'll be doing that during the week at 4 o'clock. And as John was mentioning in our off time, that they've shifted the spirituality thing from this past Wednesday to this coming Wednesday. So that will be interesting. There is, of course, and I don't know if Bruce, you want to talk about the reading for Tuesday night? I guess Bruce is not there. Let's see. Other matters, anyone else want to raise any other issues? I guess not.
That's all I've got. We'll have to do the outro in post.
Indeed. So we'll try and do better next damn week with or without the intro and outro. I'm at a different computer, so I can't play it. So let me say thank you very much, and we'll see y'all next week. I will stop the live stream now.